Alrighty. Well, I thought this would be a good time to do a full recap of Daniel Rodimer, because
Yes.
Daniel Rodimer has been charged with murdering Chris Tapp in Nevada. Chris Tapp, of course, being one of ours, right? He's from Idaho Falls.
Yep.
We covered Chris because he had been charged with a crime that he didn't commit. He sat in prison here in Idaho for about 20 years before he was exonerated. We're going to get into all of it. But I thought it would be smart for us right now. When we talked about this recently, everybody was like, well, what was his WWE name? Well, we had it wrong.
And
And
then
I
I
thought,
gave the wrong one, and someone was like,
yeah,
hey, that guy's been dead a while. Oh,
yeah, not this
well, it's
guy.
not him then.
Yeah. So we wanted to really clean it up and get down to the details of what we know about this case so far and where it's headed because, again, it's supposed to go to trial in June in Las Vegas. And provided that it's streamed, we will definitely stream it. So let's get into
Yes.
it first. I wanted to talk about who Dan Rodimer is because this is a big part of maybe what he's accused of doing.
Yeah.
It looks to me like it was just Big Dan Rodimer. It's not Rodimer, it's Rodimer.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no, no. God, it's Rodimer. Rodimer.
Oh, it's Rodimer.
Hmm.
Wow, we have been way off. Thank you
Well,
for
I think he's
confirming
pronounced
that.
it different ways, and that's what I wanted to point out. I think Rodimer has been a bit of a chameleon in his life. He is from New Jersey. He was born in 1978. And yeah, his ring name was Dan Rodman sometimes, and sometimes Dan Rodimer or Big Dan Rodimer.
Okay.
So Dan played college football and then he played semi pro football for a while. Then he was a professional wrestler for a pretty short time. Then he signed a 1 year development contract with the WWE and did WWE for a little while as well. Sometime amongst all of those times, he got married and he had 6 children and he moved to
Mm,
Las Vegas.
okay.
In 2020, he ran for Nevada's 3rd Congressional District. He lost in also in 2020. Well, he ran for office in Nevada twice. Then he moved to Texas in 2021 and ran for office there as well. He literally like moved to Texas to run for office, that kind of thing. Uh, and he lost
Boy.
there as well. So he's run for office several times and has lost. It does look to me like he at some point he served on a school board in Nevada for a little while too, in Las Vegas.
Mm,
I have a few short videos because one thing he's been accused of over the years is being uh, or is reinventing himself over and over again. So here is a short clip of young Dan, doing WWE, which is entertainment wrestling.
We're digging a big enough hole. Let's continue to dig it. Dan Rodimer.
Well, look, Big Show. I see you go up to my boy Dan and push him around. You looked at me first. I smiled right in your face. And what did you do? Absolutely nothing. So you better just get used to Big Dan Rodimer being around. Because I ain't going anywhere.
boy.
There he is with that WWE bravado. Uh,
Yes.
Now, the next clip is while he was running for office in 2020 in Nevada. This is when his opponent had accused him of having domestic violence charges. As it
Mm,
turns out, he's had quite a few brushes with the law with violence, but has never had a conviction. So apparently, there
oh,
were two
boy.
different 911 calls from his wife in 2018 alleging domestic violence. This kills me. In the initial incident, this was in July 20th, 2018, Police said there was no crime, just a verbal argument, and we did not want to embarrass them or make them any more upset. So they didn't do anything.
Okay.
That was in July. And then on November 30th, his girlfriend called the police again, saying that he had taken $200,000 in cash, jewelry, and guns from their house before leaving. She could not find him. Apparently, they'd had a large a fight, but she was accusing him of stealing these things from her. Money, a Rolex watch, an engagement ring, and 2 handguns.
Boy.
The officer in this instance said, I advised Duffy to give a 1-week cooling period to see if Mail returns home and they can resolve this matter without police involvement, as it's largely a civil matter. So she called 911 twice and got blown off twice.
Yikes.
Then a spokesperson for their family sent out the following statement. Dan and Sarah are happily married with 5 kids and have, this was after this stuff was drug out into the light while he was running for office. So this is what their spokesperson said. Dan and Sarah are happily married with 5 kids and have a new baby on the way. Like many couples, they have had some verbal disputes over the years. Concerning the July matter, Dan and Sarah resolved their verbal dispute and went together to dinner later that evening. Regarding the matter that occurred on November 30th, no items ever left the residence. Some items were moved to another location in the house, and the firearms remained locked in a safe. This level of scrutiny is to be expected in a campaign and in public life, and Dan looks forward to helping the residents of Nevada's 3rd District recover from the economic challenges Nevada is facing at this time. Sure, okay.
Hmm.
We know that
I know what Nevada needs, a wrestler.
Yeah. We know that in Florida in 2010, he pled guilty to a misdemeanor battery charge for a confrontation that happened, no big surprise, this happened in Florida in a Waffle House. I mean, could this be more Florida?
WWE wrestler walks into a Waffle House in Florida.
Yes.
Oh
he
my
was
gosh.
able to make a deal and completed a 6-week anger management course in exchange for the charges being dropped. We know that in 2006, neighbors were called, police were called by neighbors over a loud fight he was having with a girlfriend. And we know that in 2013, he was also accused of assault but was not charged. So there's a long history of him being accused of assault but never actually bearing the consequences until now.
It's pretty concerning that many times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Christine says too many steroids.
Right.
Maybe.
This dude is 6'7". He's huge.
He's 6'7"?
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he is a big, big man. Yep.
Wow.
So I wanted to share an ad. This is from the 2020 ad, or 2020 incident where he's running for office and was accused of domestic violence.
I had 1 arrest in my life while in college. Those charges were dismissed. I have no convictions and no criminal record. Yet, with the millions of dollars Schwartz makes in China, he's trying to buy our congressional seat. Schwartz has introduced more taxes than any Republican in state history. He proposed a gun ban. He supports amnesty. I'm Big Dan Rodimer, and I approve this message because I'm running on my record, while Dan Schwartz runs from his.
All right.
He used his wrestling name in his campaign ads?
Well, that's who that's how he's marketed himself in politics, is Big Dan Rodimer.
Is Big Dan. Wow.
So this is now, so he loses in 2020. He moves to Texas to run on a special election ticket. He literally filed for it minutes before it was too late to file, and literally had just moved to town. Now again, what I just showed you was from 2020. This is 2021.
World, professional wrestling, politician, and bull riding. Let's go, boys.
We call that bull Nancy Pelosi. It's the beast.
Now that's Texas tough, baby. 2 out of 3 dirty jobs done. I'm Big Dan Rodimer. Texas has big problems. We need a big fighter to solve those problems. The communists in D.C. are ruining America.
Oh my God.
It's like two different people.
It is. It's wow.
How do you go from 2020 soft-spoken family man to this bitch in 2021?
Wow. That was. We call that bull Nancy Pelosi. Oh, that was terrible.
Oh yeah. Oh, the whole ad. It's 2.5
Yeah, the
minutes
Texas voice. He's not even
absolute
from
nonsense.
Texas. He
Yeah,
doesn't have a Texas
exactly.
accent.
He moves to Texas, immediately tries to run for a congressional seat, and becomes a Texan overnight. Bull riding. Mm-hmm. So this is who Dan is. I just want to lay the foundation. This is who Dan is. Now, he also does have 6 children that I'm aware of, and, you know, seems to have been quite financially successful over his life. But again, there's quite a few allegations. Most normal people don't have multiple run-ins with the police regarding violence. They just don't.
No.
They just don't. Whether you were
It's
charged
not
or not.
a common thing to even have one.
Mm-hmm. The 911 calls. It definitely sets a pattern for me of, is this guy violent? And again, he is enormous. He is a very big man.
It also says to me that he's got charisma and that he's good at talking his way out of shit.
Definitely that. Yeah.
That he's got, and you can kind of see it. You can see it in these videos.
Mhm.
He knows how to talk the talk wherever he is
Mm-hmm.
to get himself out of trouble.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
So let's talk about the crime. So here's Rodeo Dan at in court.
My God, he does look gigantic in that picture.
Mm-hmm. All right. So let's get down to what happened. So this was on the night of October 29th into the morning of October 30th, 2023. So there is a party at Resorts World in Las Vegas. And Dan Rodimer is there along with a couple of family members, including his wife and an adult stepdaughter. Chris Tapp is also there. So I want to remind you of who Christopher Tapp is. So this is Christopher Tapp. Again, Chris is one you guys have heard about a lot because of the fact that what happened to Christopher Tapp happened right here.
Yeah.
So I
Well,
want
and
to talk
this would
about,
have been not long after he got his settlement.
right, only a few years. Yeah. Yeah. So in 1996, Christopher Tapp was accused of murdering a young woman named Angie Dodge in Idaho Falls. Angie was sexually assaulted and very brutally murdered. Christopher Tapp was unfortunately abused by the police to the degree that he admitted to a murder he did not commit. It was an interrogation that lasted 4 days.
Yeah.
And even though he confessed there wasn't any DNA linking him to the crime, there was nothing really linking him to the crime except for that he said he did it. So he went to prison in 1998, and he was in prison for over 20 years. Now, Angie Dodge's mother, Carol, was a lady that we both had met before. Carol,
Just to live right down the street from me.
yeah, Carol knew that Christopher Tapp didn't do it. Carol fought really hard for justice for Chris. She fought so hard for justice for Chris that at one point, Chris and his mother both had a restraining order against Carol because she wouldn't leave either one of them alone about it. Because she was
She
sure,
wouldn't let it go. Yeah.
but it was not Chris. So not only did she know that an innocent man was in prison, she knew that whoever did that to her daughter was actually on the loose. So Carol Dodge was an unbelievable advocate. She did not care who she pissed off. She did not care what people thought of her at all. She fought for Angie the rest of her life.
She did.
And eventually, lo and behold, they tested the DNA. And what did they discover? It wasn't Chris Tapp's. It was a
Yeah.
guy who was living in Caldwell, Idaho, up in the Boise area.
Drips.
Yep.
He was a real drip named Drips.
Yeah, dude named Drip. And they arrested him and they brought him back here and they put him in prison.
He pled guilty.
hmm He was an old guy
Mhm.
at that point. He pled guilty and Chris Tapp was eventually exonerated. And
He was released at least a couple of years at least before he was actually exonerated.
Yeah. Oh, it took
He
forever.
got released on early release due to a bunch of advocacy work, but not exonerated, and then eventually exonerated.
Yes. Initially, they tried to make him sign an agreement that they would exonerate him in exchange for him not filing suit against them.
My city, right here in Idaho
Mhm.
Falls.
Yeah.
Assholes.
That didn't work out. He did file suit, got a large settlement, many millions of dollars. Chris, in the meantime, had gotten married. I think he got married while he was still in prison, actually, now that I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think he did.
But at any rate, eventually that marriage went south and she was killed in a car accident after they had divorced, which was such a tragedy.
Yeah.
And
God.
then, unbelievably, I would say, I don't know the timing, I would say about a year later,
Yeah, I
we
think
hear
it
in
was
the
about a
news that
year.
Chris Tapp has been murdered.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So that's who we're talking about here when I'm telling you this story. All right. Back to the top. All right. So again, they're at this party. Rodimers are at this party. Christopher Tapp is at this party. Other people are at this party. The prosecutors are saying that Rodimer believed that Tapp offered cocaine to his stepdaughter. And there are witnesses that say that he said to him, if you offer that shit to my stepdaughter again, some people say that he said, if you talk to my stepdaughter again, I will fucking kill you. He did beat Chris up in front of multiple other witnesses. Apparently, he knocked him down and he hit his head on the corner of a table or something. And then after he had him on the ground, he hit him several more times. He suffered severe head injuries. Again, we're talking about a very big, strong man who seems to have just really lost his shit.
Also, I mean, the stepdaughter was an adult,
Mhm.
and
Stepdaughter was an
there was
adult.
apparently a bathroom with a counter covered in cocaine
hmm
at
Yep.
this party,
That was the special room. Yeah. Yep.
and
That was the
somehow
special
that
room.
was Chris Tapp's fault.
Right.
That's part of the story has always just been so sus to me.
Right. You
Like,
brought her there, Dan. You brought
yeah,
her there.
yeah,
And you kept her there when you obviously knew what was going on. So,
yeah.
apparently he was dressed as Ken from Barbie at the time.
He-
Rodimer was. Yeah. After the beating,
Sorry,
they did
that took me
not.
out.
Oh. After the beating, they did not apparently call 911 for about an hour before they finally got him medical care. Tapp was in the hospital for a few days before he died.
Yeah.
Cause of death is blunt force trauma to the head, and the case is ruled homicide by the coroner. So there's a big investigation. It goes on for months because at first it was kind of, they tried to paint it, some of the people that were at the party tried to paint it as a slip and fall kind of accident. He just fell. He fell and hit his head, so sorry about it. And then stories start coming out about it being a possible assault. We know that the police have some texts and phone calls between Rodimer and his wife of her implicating him, saying that she watched him almost murder someone tonight, and some things like that. That's part of the evidence that they really fought hard to try and keep the text messages out.
Yeah.
So finally, in March, there's finally an arrest. So this happened in October, but they put it in front of a grand jury and got a warrant and arrested him on March 6th. So on March 7th, he turns himself in and posts bail. So he never spent a minute in jail. Then on April 10th, he had his first court appearance. This is where they immediately start trying to suppress the text messages and some wiretap evidence. And they start trying to raise some issues about Tapp's background. One of the things we're going to see in this trial is they're going to consistently attack Christopher Tapp.
My God, has he not been through enough?
Apparently not. He also had to be murdered by Dan Rodimer, allegedly, and then, be dragged through the mud. I think this trial is going to piss us off royally, but that's my thought.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I need to back up. So he was arrested initially. The grand jury indictment didn't come out until April. So the actual arrest on March 6th was on an arrest warrant. And then they had a grand jury indictment in April. In May, he pled not guilty. This is all in 2024. Then in mid 2024, his family files a civil lawsuit. The estate of Chris Tapp does, his mom. And it's not just against Rodimer, it's also against the guy who hosted the party and the place where the party was at. They're alleging negligence by the hotel and party organizers, delay in calling for help, and an attempt to downplay the incident as a fall.
Wow.
So in 2024, 2025, we go through a bunch of pretrial motions and appeals. The defense has been really aggressive. They tried to fight the grand jury evidence aggressively. They're questioning credibility of witnesses because people may have been inebriated. They filed appeals all the way to the Nevada Supreme Court seeking dismissal. They lost that.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. There was a status hearing in July of 2025. In August of 2025, they set the trial date for June 15th of 2026. That is still the trial date as far as we are aware. It hasn't moved. In November of 2025, they had another status check. And Rodimer's still out on bond. He has been this entire time. February 5th, 2026, they had another status check-in. And there'll be
It's
another
wild to me
pretrial
that they're given in
status.
bond.
What's that?
It's just wild to me that, considering what he's charged with, that he's got bond.
Bond. Yeah. And then, of course, in June 2026, we're supposed to have the trial. So there'll be more pretrial status hearings coming up. Since we're really gearing up now, this is when all of the big stuff will start really happening. So here's some of the key evidence for the state that we know of as of now. The statements attributed to Rodimer. So prosecutors are saying that Rodimer's wife had reported that he admitted to killing Christopher Tapp. She said that he said, "I killed him." That came from text messages and communications that were turned over to investigators. That's something they fought really hard about in court. The medical and forensic evidence. So we know that Tapp's death was ruled a homicide caused by blunt force trauma to the head, and that witnesses are saying that they watched him receive that blunt force trauma to the head.
My God.
We also know that the coroner is saying the injuries are reportedly inconsistent with a simple fall, because he didn't just fall. He was knocked. He was knocked down and punched, and he fell and hit his head on the edge of a table, but then apparently was hit many more times in the head and face.
Yeah, you
So
don't
this
stand up and fall down a whole bunch of times in a row.
No. So the state says that what happened to him would have required significant force. Then we have witness accounts from the party. So witnesses have described a confrontation between Rodimer and Tapp. Rodimer, that's hard for me to remember. Rodimer becoming physically aggressive. Some accounts say that Tapp was struck and incapacitated. Like once he was knocked down and hit his head, he could not get up.
Mm.
We also know it was a party environment. There was alcohol, chaos, and some conflicting memories from inebriated people.
Damn.
So obviously the motive likely is that Rodimer allegedly believed that Tapp offered drugs to his stepdaughter. And then, of course, we also know that it appears that help wasn't called immediately, and Tapp was moved to a bed where he struggled for about an hour before help was called.
God, and he's got this massive head injury, and they moved him
Mm-hmm.
and then neglected him. That's just so sad.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So there's quite a bit of digital evidence from text messages, phone records, and communications after the incident. And again, this is all alleged at this point.
Right.
But those are things that you can expect to likely hear, along with everything that we don't know, because that is probably vast at this point. But
Sure.
that's basically what we know so far and what to expect coming up with this trial. So we're going to keep a close eye on it. Obviously, anything else that comes up in court, we'll make sure that you guys know about, because this trial is supposed to start in 3 months. So definitely time to get an eye on it and be paying attention. As for us,
Absolutely.
we'd like to see justice for Christopher Tapp.
Yeah, we surely would.
Yep.
I don't know
Alrighty.
that there will ever truly be justice for Christopher Tapp after everything that's happened to him in his life, and his poor mama,
Yeah.
who has had to fight and fight and fight for him. And I think, is she still living, or did she recently pass?
Vera, I thought she was still living.
Is she still living? Okay.
I could be wrong.
I
I thought so.
I
Yeah.
know that she's continued to fight for him forever.
Do you think the defense will be able to say that Chris had been in prison even though he was exonerated? That's a good question.
They
I don't know.
better not.
I would hope not. Yeah.
The man was exonerated.
Yep.
You can't even say that. You're not even supposed to say that if it was a valid conviction. But I
Well,
mean, will they try? Probably.
but I mean, that would be about the perp, not necessarily the victim.
Right.
Is it a 404B if it's the victim? Probably not. But it's an interesting question. Really interesting question, Kristi. I think a really important one, because they're going to attack the hell out of Christopher Tapp's out of Christopher Tapp as much as they possibly can. Yeah. Right, Paula said, fool takes his daughter to a party where he knows drugs will be available, then blames someone else for her being exposed to drugs, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So, anyway, we'll keep an eye on it. And with